what's heckin' Deuterinos? It's epic bacon time. Give me some other millennial bullshit.
Okay,
what
so
else
since
is your generation
people are
talking
gonna
about?
watch this on YouTube, go ahead and share the link in the doobly.
Yeah.
Booking from the Green Brothers. Check out the link in the doobly-doo for our actually the website.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We're starting off with a visual bit here. I have done the handlebar mustache of my actual mustache. It's not going to be this long next time you see me probably, so don't worry. And JD has done the classic tattoo finger stash.
Yeah.
That was a moment, huh?
Of all the moments that were indeed moments.
There was that.
This was one of them.
Stomp Clap Hey was everywhere.
Oh my god. We are the Lumineers, technically.
Lumineers, Mumford & Sons, Inescapable.
Oh my god. Is that where you're at with this episode?
With this episode? Well, I guess partially. Our story begins in 2005. So what? Give me a poll for 2005. Who was in 2005? Who was in 2005?
I was listening to in 2005 still Confessions by Usher and then American Idiot. So I was still traversing the floors of the Rasputin that still existed near Target.
Oh yeah. I remember when that was there.
Yeah.
That was nice to have there. That was like I was like, I can't believe we have this in Vallejo. We have a Rasputin here.
Yeah, but now it's just kind of like bouncing between like a dental office, a jewelry store, and then boba shop. So it's like, it takes 4 different companies to make up for that.
Fill the void of Rasputin.
Yeah. So the Rasputin in the Fairfield Mall is now, as of the last time we went there, like an indoor, very small indoor go-kart thing. Gar-kart. I'm Australian. I was French in the last episode.
Yeah.
I'm Australian now.
Apologies to the Australian listeners for that very, very offensive Aussie accent.
I hit the Australians. But yeah, lots of Rasputin changes. But yeah, 2005, Usher and American Idiot for me.
Yeah, American Idiot was probably big for me too, I think. Yeah, for most of my late, what do you call that, preteens? Tweens? Tween era. Big on American Idiot. Big on Dookie as well. Big Green Day guy back in the day.
Weirdly also Nickelodeon Naked Brothers Band.
Valid.
Now
Weezer for me.
Yeah.
Was also big.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. Rivers Cuomo. What a guy. He can make an appearance on the show.
Weird Al as well.
First concert for me. First concert. I went to the State Fair in Sacramento with my friend. Shout out day one homie. And we saw the Weird Al concert, and it was fun. But yeah, it was my first time seeing a live show.
Jealous.
Yeah, it was for his Straight Out of Woodwood tour.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so White and Nerdy was there.
Nerdy.
Which that was a big track for me, as you'd imagine. Yeah.
Oh God.
Good stuff. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I wound up liking this topic. Charlie the Unicorn, also of 2005, and what relationship do you have with Charlie the Unicorn?
I think Charlie the Unicorn was around probably the same places where I was watching Salad Fingers, but I didn't latch on to it as much as I did with Salad Fingers or any of the other things that I was watching.
You kept it more twisted. You were not.
Yeah, it was dark and
a little too basic for you.
It was in my dark and twisted mind filled with Ed and Eddie.
Yeah, I mean, you like Happy Tree Friends, and that was too twisted for me.
Really?
I couldn't do it.
Oh my, yeah, I did. But I watched Happy Tree Friends on YouTube and on demand. Back when it was Comcast.
Comcast on demand. Yes. Yeah.
God,
I got in trouble for getting a movie. I can't remember what it was, but
on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to do that. Yeah.
We are. I'm like 30. Ben coming up on that. We're not that old, 30. Y'all. Yeah.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting old.
We're there.
Everyone's getting old though. That's
everyone's getting old. Time. We love to see you.
Inescapable.
Yeah.
Here we are. Yeah, Mom's boyfriend was not happy with me then. I remember that.
Not pay-per-view.
Not pay-per-view. Not the pay-per-view. But hey, look, it was there. I saw it. I was like, I want to see this. I can't remember what it was. It's probably something terrible, you know. Yeah. But hey, Charlie the Unicorn series first entry originally posted on Newgrounds.
Yeah.
Second Newgrounds in the series on November 2025 or 2005. Yeah. Jason Steele, pretty sick name, gotta say. He was in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina and lost his job and most of his stuff. That's how it's generally described. And after the hurricane, moved back to Orlando where his family was. There's a YouTube short with the title, How a Natural Disaster Helped Create Charlie the Unicorn, #nostalgia, which I'd personally flag describing Hurricane Katrina as helpful or linking Katrina was #nostalgia, but that's just me. Yeah, I wouldn't do it. But go for it. YouTube Shorts. Anyway, post-disaster and back in Orlando, which is not a great place to be. His mother's birthday was coming up, and since he was broke, his mother suggested that instead of buying her something, maybe he could make an animation about one of her favorite things, unicorns. Oh. And with this impetus, and armed with Adobe Flash and Final Cut Pro, Jason did indeed make a cartoon about unicorns. In the first video, Charlie the Unicorn is minding his own business when he's approached by two other unicorns. They are unnamed throughout the entire series, but one is pink and one is blue. The pink and blue unicorns pressure Charlie, who is a very, very Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force quoted, I would say. He's kind of he's like, I'm like East Coast. I'm like not happy to be here. What are you guys doing to me? Like that's, you know, not, you know, generally that's his vibe. And they pressure him to join their journey to Candy Mountain, right? Charlie agrees and they go on a journey. They receive guidance from a magical Leopleurodon, which is a dinosaur-era aquatic reptile. Sorry, JD. It is the one that you're thinking of. It's the one that's in the water and it looks kind of like a, you know, yeah.
Turn away.
Yeah. No pictures. We're safe. They cross a bridge and finally they reach the Candy Mountain Cave. Some letters drop down, and the letter Y sings about the wonders of the Candy Mountain Cave. The unicorns peer pressure Charlie again, this time to enter the cave, and he goes in. They knock him out and steal one of his kidneys. End of Charlie Unicorn. That was his little birthday gift for his mom, which I guess she liked. Apparently, she thought it was funny. Which
cute.
Yeah, and it blew up. It got, you know, dozens of millions of views on multiple platforms. It's a big thing. Charlie the Unicorn 2 has a familiar setup. Charlie is minding his own damn business when Pink and Blue appear and start harassing him. Suddenly, a portal opens up in Charlie's back and drags Pink and Blue into the portal. They are shot out of the portal, but now they have a magical amulet. They tell Charlie they have to get the magical amulet to the Banana King, or else it will usher in an era of darkness. The portal on Charlie's back reopens and some tentacles come out to prove their point. Charlie reluctantly agrees to go meet the Banana King and give him the amulet. They first reach a large letter Z in a clearing, and Pink and Blue have a quick nonsensical conversation in Spanish about being sent by a man in a hat and that they will dine on turtles tonight. The Z dings and shoots lasers in response, and they walk on. The three unicorns next reach a large sneaker. Pink and Blue call it the choo-choo shoe, and say that they have to get on to catch the train. But Charlie says he's just going to walk. They finally all reach the temple of the Banana King when a large slug-type creature, I would say, in a Santa hat and beard appears and sings a song about how Charlie has to place a banana in his ear to attain happiness in his life. They return the amulet to the temple, and the light shines from the amulet, making it clear that Charlie is, in fact, the Banana King. As he celebrates and is kind of tractor beamed up into the sky, Pink and Blue disappear. Charlie is finally released from the tractor beam and falls and walks to his home alone, only to find that Pink and Blue robbed everything from him. The third entry starts with Charlie walking in the woods when Pink and Blue's voices start coming into his head. Suddenly, they appear in front of him and tell him that they're from the future and the end of all things is near, and he has to come with them to help them finish their snowman. They drag him to the future and warn him to be careful of the Umu. There's a few more minutes of them pulling him through the forest, claiming they're being chased by things like wum-wums and blah-blahs before they finally reach a large duck-shaped boat and get on board. As they travel along the river, Charlie asks them what this has to do with a snowman, and the boat begins to sink. They enter an underwater realm, and Pink and Blue tell Charlie that they're close to the snowman. But first, they have to get through the door. The door is everything, all at once, and all that will be. The door controls time and space, life and death. The door can see into your mind. The door can see into your soul. Charlie asks if that's true, and they say no, so they walk past the door. As they continue to walk, they spot a whale and a narwhal, and then a seal with a goat head arrives and starts to sing a song to Charlie. The goat seal, perhaps a goat sea reference, given that it was late 2000s, talks about all the creatures of the sea and how much they love Charlie. And keep in mind, there is a recurring, especially obsessed starfish who will come up later, who very, very much loves Charlie to an unhealthy degree.
Okay.
The song ends and Charlie finds himself in front of the snowman. Then a sleeping gas grenade goes off and Charlie wakes up to find his horn missing and being used as the snowman's nose, and his kidney is inside of the snowman. And then the fourth and final entry of this kind of first wave of Charlie the Unicorn saga starts with Charlie walking in the forest, and then Pink and Blue crash in a spaceship and tell him they have to go to the moon. Charlie is worn down at this point and doesn't even push back. He just agrees to go with them without any argument. On the journey to the moon, Charlie is tased multiple times by Blue as Pink accuses Charlie of being armed and resisting arrest. They get to the moon, and we get a new song pretty quickly. This one is about a giant millipede that lives in the moon, perhaps inspiring the horned serpent from Monument Mythos, maybe. After the song, a cavern in the moon opens up, and Blue and Pink tell Charlie he has to enter the cave. They promise this will be the last thing they ever ask of him. They enter the cave, and a large bomb on a 45-second timer shows up. Pink and Blue tell Charlie they've decided to blow up the moon out of boredom. They fuck off and leave Charlie to die. Suddenly, the starfish appears and tells Charlie that his only option is to wish on him. Charlie wishes to go home, drawing out the starfish and sending Charlie back home. Pink and Blue are shocked and a little embarrassed by Charlie's survival, and then the starfish crashes into the earth, screaming YOLO. And if that's not clear enough dating, Charlie the Unicorn 4 came out in 2012. So we have a 7-year window of this first era, right?
Yeah.
2005 to 2012. And then, a 9-year drought happened. Much like Salad Fingers, there was some time between the next ones. And then 2021, Charlie the Unicorn, the grand finale, came out. It was not a cold drop. Jason Steele posted a Kickstarter to produce a proper finale in 2016 for $35,000. That was his target, and he managed to raise over $200,000 within a month.
Jesus.
This meant that the finale grew in scope beyond what he'd originally planned. The average length for the first 4 Charlie the Unicorn videos was 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The finale wound up being 40 minutes.
Ooh.
So longer than all pre-existing Charlie content. Two-thirds of the Charlie the Unicorn universe is in this finale. So, let's get into it. And if this is breaking news to you and you're from the generation of internet kids that cares, or if you were more on the Charlie Unicorn side of things than the Salad Finger side of things, go ahead and watch the grand finale before you get back into our episode. Pausing now, going ahead. It opens with a spinning purple cube on a black background. The focus increases slightly, and we see that the cube is covered in ruins. We cut to a tower, and a small nerd-type creature named Nyx, possibly a pangolin, approaches and asks if anyone is there. Norwell the weasel appears at the top of the tower and asks what Nyx wants. Nyx tells the weasel that it wants to research the tower. Norwell assembles the council to decide whether or not to allow Nyx to research the tower. There's pushback. The council kind of wants to just kill Nyx and be done with it. And they also are talking about how the tower is a weapon of unimaginable power, and they kind of like that as being run by weasels, because that weasels want the power for themselves, right? Nix pitches that the power is not the dangerous part. It's probably something that lies beneath the tower. That's the powerful part. And the council really only cares about the tower itself and decides that, what's under it is maybe not their jurisdiction. So, yeah, sure, Nix can go and study it. They reach a giant door under the tower. Norwell the Weasel decides the door probably should be council business after seeing how big and impressive it is, and asks Nix to wait outside while the council meets. Nix goes outside, and then Norwell's ghost appears and lets Nix know that the council opened the door and they were all killed instantly by something alive inside of the chamber. The ruined cube then rises above the tower, and Nix leaves to warn the rest of the world that the apocalypse is coming. Cut to Charlie, who is approached by Blue and Pink in standard Charlie the Unicorn fashion. B and P tell Charlie that they're just hanging out with the boys, and Charlie asks who the boys are, and then he's transported to a blood dimension, where a collection of body parts tells him that blood is pure and that this blood is Charlie's. Charlie returns to base reality, and Blue and Pink tell him about the emergency that's happening and explain why Charlie has to help prevent the end of the world. Charlie agrees to join them with the caveat that he doesn't believe a word they say. Blue and Pink summon a rainbow and a dolphin in a beehive wig and eyebrows, eyebrow merkins, sings a song about Charlie and how his negativity is his fault and he just needs to change his mindset. The dolphin then explodes, covering Charlie in blood. We get a promotional video for Magic City, the City of Magic, from Mayor Slug, who is a hippo in a suit, and the founder and CEO of Slug Industries, a generalized intermediary service selling poor people's labor to the lowest bidder. Nix enters the Slug building to meet Mayor Slug and warn about the impending disaster. Nix explains that the cube is a magic black hole, basically. It's trying to absorb all of the magical energy and is likely headed straight for Magic City, City of Magic. Mayor Slug reveals that, the cube was already here, and Mayor Slug is, he's dead, and this is his corpse being controlled by the magic cube. The cube wants to watch Nix suffer as it destroys the world, and then explodes Mayor Slug into a rain of blood and body parts. Cut back to Charlie, standing in the ocean, washing the dolphin blood off of him before Blue and Pink resummon the Rainbow Bridge to ride off. Charlie gives himself a pep talk, and then a series of birds with human lips comes and kisses Charlie. Suddenly, everything around Charlie freezes, and the starfish reappears. The starfish warns Charlie he'll need magic to survive the coming challenges, and forces Charlie to merge with a magical mollusk. Meanwhile, Nix returns to Norwell's ghost, and Nix explains that Magic City, City of Magic, has been destroyed. Norwell offers to sing Nix a song and sings about buying a used coat, and then finding out the coat is sentient and falling in love with the coat, and living a nice, beautiful gay marriage with the coat. Back on the rainbow, Blue asks Charlie, how can you be sure that you are you, and begins to glow, transporting Charlie to the snow dimension. The disembodied voice tells Charlie that he froze to death when Blue and Pink gave the snowman his horn, and the snowman was given his memories. Charlie realizes that this is just Blue fucking with him again, and the spell breaks. Nix then goes to Sea City, City of the Sea, and meets with the Empress. The Empress explains that the cube was there, and nothing to worry about here. They struck a deal. The cube offered 10 years of life for the Empress and the people in Sea City, City of the Sea, and 100,000 gold coins. And in exchange, the cube received all of the geographic and surveillance data provided by the city. Nix is then transported away mysteriously. Charlie, Pink, and Blue arrive at the Temple of the Cat. We get a musical number about the Temple of the Cat and the magical cat. And another, we're promised again, Charlie could be happy. But then Charlie is kicked out of the temple. Time freezes again, and the starfish appears with more magical content for Charlie to consume. Mucus from the enchanted flesh orb. Nix then arrives in space and is told that space bugs observe and control all life on Earth, and they need Nix to be the head researcher and solve the cube mystery. But only because all of the bug researchers are being killed by the cube. Back on the Rainbow Bridge, Pink's head flies off, but regrows in a sort of duplicating half copy. To calm Charlie, Blue guides him on a meditation in a meadow with a circle, which is an elaborate ruse to make Charlie look at his ass. Nix and the bug arrive at the tower, and Norwell reappears. Nix asks about the strange red wheel and asks what it does. Norwell has no idea, but the cube has arrived, so it's time to give it a shot. Nix spins the wheel, turning the tower on. The cube asks if you know what you just did by spinning that wheel, and Nix says, no, I don't. And then it turns out that it opens up a portal to the cube dimension and allows more cubes into the world. The cube decides to put Nix in the portal to see if he'll explode, and we see a flash of light. Then we learn that Charlie's time is actually 10,000 years in the future. Charlie, Blue, and Pink arrive at the tower. The starfish places a magical foot in Charlie and guides him to meet Nix's ghost. Nix tells Charlie that he's going to send him through the magical portal, and the magical object should be enough to protect him, and explains that Blue and Pink are not unicorns, but they are corpse puppets controlled by cube demons. Charlie manages to survive the portal, and then we cut back to Blue and Pink, who are walking through the woods and meet Charlie the unicorn. Cut back to Charlie floating in the cube dimension, where he meets another Charlie the unicorn. But this one is a ghost with a goatee. Purple Charlie is not the same as this. He's just a unicorn named Charlie. Mm-hmm. And he says that he managed to get in because it was a flaw in his security system. Same name, so was able to enter the portal. And he explains that he just had a business idea. Purple Charlie was going to exploit the labor of the demon trickster spirits for the cheap, because demons are not protected by labor laws. So Purple Charlie put the demons into cubes and sealed them in with ruins so they could absorb magic. But they killed him in the cube and stole his magic. Classic Charlie is given a mindset realizer, which sends him into his own mind, where the only hope to stop the cube demons is to think happy thoughts. So Charlie, for the first time in the series, sings a song to himself and manages to get into the right headspace, opening the portal and sucking Blue and Pink back into the cube dimension. Charlie returns to base reality and meets Starfish in his true form, half starfish, half horse, a Startar. Startar dies of a heart attack and ascends to the stars, promising that he will always keep an eye on Charlie. And so ends the Charlie the Unicorn story, with one final coda that came out in December 2024. This video is titled, Charlie the Unicorn Enjoys a Moment of Peace. In it, Charlie walks into a ruined building and finds a strange button on the ground. Charlie presses the button, and it turns out to be a music box. Charlie enjoys the show and closes the series with a smile. So I want to kind of, I think the last part we're going to both kind of discuss nostalgia and that early age of the internet some more. We'll get more into that. But for right now, let's talk about how Charlie the Unicorn became part of the radical left, how he became an Antifa super soldier here. The finale really, lays it out pretty plainly. Throughout the series, there are some breadcrumbs, but again, these are separated by like 12 years. Mm-hmm. Breadcrumbs of both cosmic horror of Charlie the Unicorn and the godless leftist stance of Charlie is there as well. The Banana King's Temple in the second episode features a hammer and sickle looking insignia, but the sickle is a banana. And the Latin phrase inscribed in the temple is Ex Oriente Lux Banana, which is a Latin phrase which translates to out of the east comes light, banana. The saying, without the banana part, is the title of a poem by Vladimir Solovyov from 1890. The poem is about Russia and whether or not Russia's future will be as the conqueror or teacher. The phrase Ex Oriente Lux often contrasts with Ex Occidente Lex, which means out of the West, laws. So this contrast, putting aside the kind of Orientalism of it all, generally draws a distinction between Eastern cultures as offering greater wisdom and spirituality, while Western cultures represent materialism and legalism. The metaphor is sometimes extended to the light of communism and the hopes of its eventual spread to the West, right? Bad news to you, Solovyov did not work out that way. Charlie the Unicorn, the finale, reveals that the series is post-apocalyptic, and that the end of the world was brought about by unchecked capitalism. Nix is an expert, right? He's a nerdy little expert. He knows his stuff. He is the only one who has any knowledge of the cubes. which wind up causing the apocalypse. And the Weasels decide to ignore his expertise and open the door containing the cube because they want to secure more power for themselves. And then Nick spends the rest of his life going from leader to leader, attempting to stop the oncoming apocalypse. When we meet Slug, he's already a flesh puppet piloted by the cube, but we know that Slug is a true red-blooded capitalist because his entire business empire is built on selling labor to businesses while pocketing 15% of the employer's pay and 15% from the employees. Slug has disrupted the payroll industry in Magic City, City of Magic, and he was rewarded for his capitalist ambitions and disrupting the labor industry by becoming linked to political power and becoming a mayor. But even before he was a puppet, he also did not give a fuck about Nix's warnings of oncoming apocalypse, because we see that he threw Nix's letter in the trash, where it's sitting under a pile of banana peels. The second figure that Nix goes to meet is the Empress of Sea City, City of the Sea, who bought herself 10 years of promised safety before the cubes turned her into a meat puppet by selling out the data on all her citizens. Much like Slug, the Empress has no interest in stopping the oncoming apocalypse, and she dismisses Nix's question, what happens after 10 years, with, we die, I guess, but that's in 10 years, plenty of time to spend all that gold. And then finally, Nix is brought up to space by the bugs, the ultimate elites. They have been watching the cube absolutely tear shit up on Earth, but they didn't want it to interfere, and we didn't like that it was killing everybody, but what are we supposed to do, you know? But we only sought out Nix's help when the cube started killing bugs, including their own bug researchers. Nix is finally killed after he opens a portal to the cube world. The apocalypse happens, and 10,000 years later, Charlie the Unicorn is able to enter the portal to the cube dimension simply because his name is Charlie, and he's a unicorn. Much like the hyper-capitalist Purple Ghost Charlie in the cube dimension, who dared to dream. Purple Charlie explained that his whole business model was about skirting labor laws and contracting with the military. Since we also learned that the cubes are trickster demons, which love breaking into musical numbers and possessing corpses, we also get a much different perspective on the universe of Charlie the Unicorn, where almost every episode has a something coming and singing a song to Charlie and then exploding. Charlie is one of the last life forms on his planet. Charlie constantly has his bodily autonomy violated. His organs are stolen to make a snowman, and he is forcibly implanted with magical objects by Nix and the starfish. He also has very little agency. No matter how much he pushes back against Pink and Blue, or later Nix, he is always subjected to whatever they demand of him. The only real agency that Charlie has is his big hater energy. Cheer Up Charlie is the recurrent theme in all of the songs throughout the series. Throughout much of the series, they offer him solutions to his anger. Go to a cave, you know. We never support that on the show.
No. Put
a banana in your ear. Just, you know, stop being an unhappy piece of shit. But eventually, the songs become, you know, they're just, full blame for Charlie. It's your fault that you're miserable. You do this to yourself. Everyone else is happy. The world is fine. You're the problem, right? In the climax of the series, Charlie sings his first song, and it features lines like, why should I smile when they toss me around? I'm told the issue is inside my head as they make a world that is withered and dead. After Charlie sings his songs and sends Blue and Pink back to the cube dimension, we see a final tour of the set pieces throughout the series. Candy Mountain, the Banana Temple, the Underwater Realm. But it's not a simple nostalgia dump. The locations are now decaying and falling apart. They are no longer held together by Blue and Pink's magic. Charlie does not save the world. It's too late for that. But he refuses to adopt the worldview that everything is fine, buckle down and do the work, go die for the economy. In the final entry, the world is not magically better, but we do get to see that Charlie has a nice moment, one on his own terms. And I think, you know, we kind of have to think back to, you know, Jason Steele, more like Jason Stalin, am I right?
Am I right?
You know, he's an American. He's American of more or less our generation, right? He lived through Katrina in New Orleans. He had to leave. He lost his home. He had to move back in with parents shortly after the Great Recession was going to hit. Charlie the Unicorn, the finale's production continued through the pandemic, and it was finally released in 2021. And yeah, nostalgia is a strange thing, right?
Yeah.
But I think that seeing the locations of Charlie the Unicorn revisited by Decade with some added context for the finale does help shed some light on the nature of nostalgia, especially in a crumbling late capitalist hellscape. Before we know what Jason lived through and what a lot of us lived through, and it is natural to feel nostalgic for the past, but we have to remember that the past is not just romanticized memories that we may have. So I was not expecting this going into Charlie the Unicorn. I didn't expect a capitalist critique. I'm going to say that.
Did not either. When you were starting to just when you were starting to get into like certain things, I was like, I literally wrote like, this is starting to get, in a way, I'm squinting at it like this. I'm like, huh? What's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
Surprise.
And definitely, I mean, most of it was in the finale, but I do think that he does a good job of kind of tying it back to the earlier entries of the series, you know. Like obviously there's a little lefty in him early on with, I think, the communist banana temple. Yeah,
I guess that's like pretty cool to like end a series that you're watching, and then the next watch that you do of it, you have the context of the end, and you're kind of just going like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, I think I do. I'm intrigued by maybe rewatching it with that added context, because it does change kind of the nature of it. Because before I watched the finale, I was like, oh, I mean, it's just like, you know, the kind of random internet humor that was really big in like the late 2000s.
Yeah.
Like that's all, you know. And at the time, I'm sure that was a big part of it. Was you know, oh, the Leopleurodon, oh, the choo choo shoo, you know, all this kind of like just silly, nonsensical, kind of surrealist bullshit. And that obviously continues. Like, I think that's the comedy is still present in that. It's not like it's like a preachy finale or anything. But it is just kind of the absurdism is like the absurdism of like capitalism, not just like random words pulled out of a hat kind of thing. Yeah. So I appreciated it. I have some respect for Jason Steele. I think he's it seems like it's a big part of one of the things I saw in a lot of comments was that people are starting to watch Charlie Unicorn with their kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's sweet to kind of share that with your kid.
Yeah.
But then also I like that you're radicalizing your kid. You're bringing the kid into the fold. Welcome. Hopefully not too late, but yeah. I like the idea of rewatching Charlie the Unicorn, but now I'm like, I'm probably gonna go watch it. Like, it's not gonna be like I'm gonna look it up. It was fun. It was an enjoyable watch. Salad Fingers, I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch.
Listen, I don't blame you.
Valid.
Yeah. I think there's like a compilation of it that doesn't include the last episode. That's probably like maybe like an hour or something long, but I would watch that 4X. It's just watch it on your own terms, you know.
Yeah, Charlie the Unicorn. Also, the songs, some of them were genuinely pretty catchy.
Yeah.
And he did, I think, all of the music himself, all the voices himself, like especially like the early ones. I think the last one he had a couple other people do voices, but most of the music is kind of all him. And I think it's fun. It's fun. Worth a little watch. And it's about an hour total. I think you can watch the whole. They have like, it all in one compilation. It's like an hour. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about this later, obviously, but it's just like the idea of revisiting some of the things that we watched as kids and then like seeing them in new lights.
Yeah. We got anything else on CTU, or you want to get into our discussion?
I think I was mostly just making comments that I think I can bring into the next one.
All right. Well, sick, y'all. Thank you for listening to our little Charlie the Unicorn discussion. Episode was written and produced by Ben and JD. All of our music is provided by Yager Frank. We will be back next time with a discussion of what it felt like to revisit cartoons from our youth. So yeah, tune back in for that. If you like the show, tell a friend. If you don't, tell an enemy. We'll catch you on the side. Bye.